consider this your safe space to wear your Cavs fandom with pride as we celebrate our Cavs. And we're going to do that through giving out some made-up weekly awards. Our first award of the week that we're going to give away, which is the People Still Watch Basketball Even Though the NFL Tries to Take Over Christmas award for our game of the week. And that is obviously Cavs in Denver. The Cavs scored 80 points in the first half in this game. Consecutive quarters of 40 points. Bob from Fear the Fro tweeted that those were quarters 10 and 11 of scoring 40, which leads the league. Shout out to Bob, as I mentioned earlier. He's going to be the first guest on this podcast. You're going to hear him Thursday. And I'm really excited about that conversation. The Jazz game was a bit more of a competitive and essentially kind of like came down to the wire type of a game. But to see a whole half of basketball turn into just a giant Cavalanche, and then, of course, the Cavs offense just goes completely ice cold in the third to only score 36 points and 149 rather in the game. The game of the week is definitely the one the Cavs played in Denver. The next award that we're going to give out is the KD's mom may be the real MVP still, but this is a close second award for Cav of the week. And 3 guys were deserving of this, but I'm going to go with Evan Mobley. Against the Jazz, I mentioned earlier, he ended up with 22 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, and a steal. He was 3 for 5 shooting the 3 ball, and there were multiple big sequences that came off of a play made by Evan Mobley in that game. There was one where he had a block on one end, he threw it ahead, ran the court, and got rewarded on the other end with a dunk. There was another that came off a block that he had that ended up with, I believe it was a Donovan Mitchell 3 from the left wing. I think that was one of those threes that ended one of the quarters, if I'm remembering correctly. It seemed like he was a momentum driver in that game, along with just being a dominant force of a basketball player. And then against the Nuggets, he absolutely took over in the second half. After Donovan Mitchell kind of scorched the first half, it was a little bit of a passing of the torch in the second, where Evan Mobley, he only shot 1 3-pointer in the first half that he missed. He hit 4 of them in the second half. He only missed 1 shot in the whole second half, scoring 19 of his 26 points. And it's not just that he got hot shooting from deep. He was driving. He was finding teammates, a few times for buckets. He had a big block on the defensive end. It seemed like when the Nuggets might try to make a run, Mobley stepped up and closed that door. His final tally was the 26 points I mentioned, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, and 4 for 6 shooting from 3-point range. 48 points in 2 games for Mobley and 7 3-pointers. The leap isn't happening. It's happened. And it's been so much fun to watch. And if he's not an all-star, more than just the game is broken. Our next award is going to be the I Don't Have Friends, I Got Family Award for Quote of the Week. And this one I'm going with full government? And if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, before the Jazz game, there was a delay of 30 or 40 minutes probably, because one of the baskets got broken during warm-ups. And after the game, Darius Garland was asked about it in the locker room, asking if he knew who broke the rim. And as he was talking about not divulging the name of the culprit that may or may not have been responsible, you hear Donovan Mitchell from the background just shouting, "Tristan Thompson!" Upon which time Garland calls him out, saying that it was Donovan Vernell Mitchell who snitched. And you just hear Donovan in the background, yelling about using his full government name. And I get it. Garland should have had to wear a white wig to practice or something after that, because the only person that's allowed to go full name with your middle name has to be your grandmother. And by the way, You need to follow Spencer at Spin Davies to see the video that he took of this exchange. He gets really good content and makes really good like locker room videos with his access, and it really just captures how high the vibes are on this team right now and how much fun that they're having together, and that's translating for us as fans because it just makes them that much more fun to watch. You can tell a team that is playing and having fun, whether they're even playing well or not. Like there have been teams, even some of those past teams with LeBron at the helm, where they were playing well, but it was like not that fun, and it was more of a relief when they were winning some of those games as opposed to just pure joy. And this team seems to be playing with just pure joy. The next award that we're going to give away is the Have You Heard of This Show Called The Office Award for Moment of the Week. And this one I'm going to give to Sam Merrill. Shooting 4 for 5 from 3 in the third quarter alone against the Jazz was a big moment in that game because it was the turning point that gave the Cavs kind of a cushion that they needed because the Jazz would later make a run in that game. But it was also a big moment, I think, and I hope for Sam. Going into the Utah game, he was shooting just 32% from 3, which is actually amazing considering that last year he was a 40% three-point shooter and the best on the team of anybody that played real minutes. And this year, he's taking the same amount of threes, and he's not hitting them. And yet the Cavs are still the best three-point shooting team in the NBA. For him to have a moment like that culminates in a 6 for 11 night against Utah, and then following it up with 3 for 4 in Denver, we might be seeing that positive regression where this team's best shooter starts shooting like it. And that's a very scary proposition for the rest of the league because they're already so incredibly dangerous from 3. The next award that we are going to do is the Matt Rife Second Funniest Comedian from Ohio Award for Laugh of the Week. And this one I'm going with Darius Garland starting to sing Holly Jolly Christmas during his post-game walk-off interview after that Jazz win. I didn't know that I needed to know what Darius Garland's singing voice sounded like. Now I'm wondering how I, or frankly anyone, has ever lived without it. If you missed it, after the Jazz game, Serena Winters did the regular post-game interview, snagged Darius Garland for it, and asked him if he had a message for the fans after the last game before the holidays would come, and he just starts singing Happy Holly Jolly Christmas. And I'm not even upset that he got the lyrics wrong. I am upset that he didn't sing more of this song because I need more of Darius Garland singing in my life now, and I think that he should do an album. Maybe a lullaby album so that we can play it for our children to put them to sleep and have them dream of Cavalier basketball. Now, let's do our final award for the week, and we're going to call this one the Let's Prove Our Third Grade Math Teacher Wrong When They Said That We Never Learned Anything Useful If All We Ever Cared About Was Basketball Award for Number of the Week. And this one I'm going with 20. As in 20 plus three-pointers made as a team, which they accomplished in both games this past week, extending their streak to 4 straight games accomplishing that feat. Per Fedor, it's the first time in franchise history that the Cavs have done that, and just the second team ever, the other being last year's champion, Boston Celtics. And I talked about this on the Block the Shot the Stop podcast, which I recommend you go listen to that episode, so I won't spoil it all here. But the Cavs have really cranked up their three-point volume during this stretch, and as their attempts are going up, so is their accuracy. They've increased their three-point attempts by about 20% here over the past handful of games, 5-6 games, and yet they're hitting them above their season average. That already leads the NBA in three-point percentage. This team is just absolutely shooting the lights out. So, that concludes our weekly award segment. If you would like to have some nominations for next week's awards, whether they be these same categories or you want to come up with your own, I would love to hear it. Go ahead and let's say for this one, go ahead and tweet at me either on Bluesky or on X at Zach-NBA and use, let's do like hashtag CavsCast. And let me know who you think should win, what award you are giving them for the next week of Cavalier basketball, and I'll see what we get and feature it in the show. That sound like a plan? I think so.